Morning. Hail me back for hopefully another short video. I thought this morning we'd examine a portion of text that we've already examined, and just these two portions rather than throw them in with a whole bunch of other portions, and maybe one other thing that I thought we could talk about. So what we're going to look at is the word Baal, okay, or Baal, I guess is your proper pronunciation of the word, that God image, that false God image, that they're putting the arches of Baal up everywhere. So what we're going to look at is these passages, like I said, that we've discussed in prior passages, in prior videos. So that's the wrong one. But we're going to look at, if my computer here will stop working, a passage that we find in Genesis 49:22. Okay? And this is what it says. All right? It says, Joseph is a fruitful vine by a spring whose branches scale the wall. So if you've been watching my videos, we've talked about the breach in the wall and how Solomon daubed the breach in the wall up, whereas David left the breach in the wall opened for the righteous daughters to pass through to their rightful birthright as the spirit in symbology that governs the body. So Judah would be David, and the righteous daughters would pass through these gates, and they would have a position in the Mount Zion or Mount Jerusalem, and we're told that that's where the law issues from. It governs the body. It governed the kingdom of Israel. Now, Solomon daubed this up, daubed this wall up. He cut these righteous daughters off. He cut them off. He tore down their homes. They killed them. They tossed them out of the land. They sold them into slavery, whatever they could to get rid of these daughters, these righteous daughters who knew the laws of heaven. Okay? They did whatever they could to get rid of them. The Bible tells us this. We've studied this before. Now, here we go with the implementation of the false image, Baal, your husband as your Lord and Master. Okay? So it says Joseph is a fruitful vine by a spring whose branches, go look the word up on your interlinear, it should be 1323. So let's just do that right quick here. Okay? Make sure I got the right number. So your branches here that scale the wall. Come on, my computer's really slow today. Sorry about that. But your word is, I've been having trouble with it. It is 1323. And when you pull that word up, it's going to tell you it's daughters. We'll pull it up. Wow, is my computer working hard today. Sorry about that, folks. So, daughter, 1323. The Hebrew word is bath, B-A-T-H. Noun feminine, feminine, proper name feminine, means daughter. And when you scroll down on daughter, if my computer will let me do it, you're going to get branches, women, towns. It also puts it in a negative light. Okay, so it's going to say ostriches. What else? Adonite. They're going to do that. And so, but we're clearly getting branches, but the meaning of this word is daughters. Okay, but what's a branch? Well, it starts out as Sion, S-C-I-O-N, and it goes to Sion, S-I-O-N, and then it goes to Zion, Z-I-O-N. So here's your branches, your daughters who are passing through the wall. And what does it tell us happens to them as they are trying to pass through the wall? Now understand, we're looking at the daughters of Joseph here, which we're told in Joseph's blessing, from thence will come the stone of Israel. Well, your stone is your spirit, and your spirit is a feminine. It's your counterpart to the masculine, which represents the body or the temple. Okay? So, next verse. If my computer's ever going to pick it up. It's really slow today. Wow. Sorry. So, what does it say? Okay, we're going to have to pull up the parallel on that if it ever comes up. So what does it say? Sorry, folks. I'm so sorry about this. I didn't know my computer was going to be this slow. I might as well go to the Bible if it was going to be this slow. Okay, Genesis 49:23. What does it say? We'll reread the two verses. Okay, so 22 says this. It says, Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. All right? What does it say? In verse 23, the archers, now hang on to the word archers here. The archers have sorely grieved, not him. If it's the daughters that's running over the wall, then they're shooting at the daughters. All right? The archers have sorely grieved her and shot at her and hated her. Okay? So what's the word for archers there? Do you know what it is? Do you know what the word for archers is there? We've talked about this in a prior video. Can't remember, a long time ago. But guess what it is? It's Hebrew 1167. Right? So the archers have sorely grieved her and shot at her and hated her. It says arrows. So we already know that arrows is also a symbology of your words. Alright? So, who's shooting these words at these daughters, these branches, these daughters of Zion? Hello? As they pass through their rightful birthright, which David left open. They're known as of David. Who shot at them? Well, if you go to Baal, these archers, which is 1167, it's a masculine noun, means owner and lord, and guess what else it means? See, my computer's completely stopped working here. It means bridegroom, your captain, dominant, your husbands. Our husbands wouldn't do that to us, would they? They wouldn't lie to us and shoot us to take us down under them, would they? So that they could be our Lord and Master. They wouldn't do that to us, would they? Would they do that to us, you think, women? Men? Would you do that to us? Well, of course not. I mean, we won't speak about Sharia law. We won't speak about Judaic law. We won't speak about Old Testament law in the Bible. We won't speak and address that. But, so you wouldn't do that, right? Well, maybe you would. Especially if you're a king in power and can throw your weight around. And more or less do whatever you want. And everybody's going to tell you can do what you want. Such as make laws and decrees. That's going to subjugate her under you. So, where would we find somebody who did that? I'm way in now. Let's see if it'll work here. Where would we find somebody that would do that? That's going to line up here. Yeah, it's completely stopped working. Well, let me find it here. Okay, so it's after that. Let's try this job. Okay. So, guess where we're going to find it? We're going to find your Baal hid, and they are hid, in the words that they choose, so you don't see the truth. You're going to find it in there, okay? When the king got mad at Vashti, and of course, the Lord's going to use a wicked thing to deploy a good thing. That's what the Lord does, even in this situation. So, what does it say here? Let's go to Esther 1:20. It says, and when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great. He had a great empire. So he had many peoples, many languages under him. All the wives, all us wives that was in existence at that time under this great king, shall give to their, guess what the word is there? Their Baals honor, both to great and small. So you're to honor your Baal. Your husbands is the word there. But it's 1167. Baal. Baal. So they'll tell you that the word Baal, and my computer has completely given up working. Don't that rot your socks. And no, my socks aren't rotting. But so they'll tell you it's derived 1167, which is your husband's, which is Baal, small b, is derived from 1166, okay? But if you go ahead one number to 1168, it's going to take you back, okay, and tell you same as Baal, 1167. So they're the same, is what they're telling you. And we know that kings set themselves up as these great rulers and would oftentimes add to their name God. Oftentimes, them as kings, they would add to their name the word God. And they would require of all the members of their kingdom to bow down to them and worship them as gods. So we look at this image in Daniel, this kingly image, and the 10 toes at the end of days, and it says, this stone that is cut out without hands, representing the daughters of Zion, reborn in the earth, as Christ's manifested spirit. There's one, his manifested spirit. She sits to his right in Psalm 110. We're going to keep hitting at that. And we are told it is the daughter of Zion that will thresh the nations. She's the way that he judges and that he rules. She's his crown and his scepter. He's no king without her. That's what this is all telling you. But we've been so brainwashed that we need a pat on our head from a male. That's what that tells you. And I know you don't like me saying it that way, but that's simply how it is. It's not Daddy God. That's like saying all the dads of the earth is like God. Give me a break. God shares nothing in common with your dad on earth. My dad's a sinner. He's a sinner. That's why it says, call no man your father. He's your dad. God is father. And yeah, there's a masculine. But guess who else is there? Mother. This world reflects the Godhead, male and female, body and spirit. And Father says, you exalt her. You exalt your spirit and shall bring thee to great honor. Well, if there's one thing Mother's done in the writing of her scriptures, and we're told it's the Spirit that writes them, is that she has brought great honor to the Father. She has brought great honor in the earth to the Father. But make no mistake, you don't get to dismiss her as less. You don't get to do that. Because she is the creator of all things, including this body. And nobody seems to want to get a hold of that. Now, the other thing I wanted to look at briefly is a dream I had. And I'm not going to tell you the whole dream. I'm just going to share with you a small portion of it. I had a little fox come to me in one of my dreams one night. And when I woke up in the morning, I was a little puzzled by it. Because I'll tell you the start of it. The start of it, it started out as a squirrel. You know the coloring of a squirrel? It's got that reddish brown coloring on top, and the whole half of its underbody is all white. Well, it started out as a squirrel running to me, and I'll just tell you this part. I was laying down on the ground, partially on my side, so my lower half. I was twisted. My lower half was on its side, but my upper body was laying down flat, so I was twisted, and I was just starting to rise up. And as I looked at the ground, this squirrel was running at me. And as the squirrel continued to run at me, it changed into a fox. And it was a little fox. It was not a big fox. And it was the exact same color as what the squirrel had been. So it was all brown on top, and the lower half of its body was all white. And it came up to me. And I didn't realize, as much as I studied Song of Songs, I had forgot that that word little was there in front of fox. I was thinking, it says, catch for us the foxes that would spoil the vineyard. But it says, the little foxes that would spoil the vineyard. So it's interesting because this fox was a real little fox that came up to me. And it wanted to be nice to me, this fox. Now I say that because let's read in Song of Songs the passage that I'm talking about. And I was a little bit puzzled over this dream, but I knew this part existed. All right. So Song of Songs 2:15 says this. It says, "Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes." And here I had a little fox approach me in my dream. I was laying down, and it started out as a squirrel. So if you look the word squirrely up, what does squirrely mean? It means somebody that you can't really trust, right? That's what squirrel means. So what I find interesting from my studies is I've come to understand, and I believe it was in my 3rd video that I've made, that I do talk about the foxes and how they handful by handful removed the foundation, the truth. And they did it handful by handful. Now, I couldn't understand in the beginning why a fox, if you pull up the word for fox, it's going to tell you a burrower, something that burrows and something that digs. And way back then, I was still looking for correlations, and I couldn't quite make my correlation to why the fox was a burrower or why it was placed here, until I understood what they had done to the original foundations, which was they burrowed, they removed the truth of heaven and replaced it with the law of lies, the lies of laws. And that's what they did. But I do a much greater understanding of that in my 3rd video, Woman Who You Are in God, Key of David. That 3rd video. I'm pretty sure I talk about the foxes in that one. And so it was interesting to me because it was like they wanted to make nice to me. Now, I knew there was another verse in Isaiah that I didn't fully comprehend until I had this dream, and then that verse came out to me. And this is what it says. And since my computer ain't working, I'll have to go to it here. It says this: "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, unfaithfully, liars, false. And they dealt not treacherously with thee." Talking about the daughters of Zion, that they dealt treacherously with. "When thou shalt cease to spoil, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee." Right? That's the judgment. See, they think they're not going to pay for all that they've done to these righteous daughters. They think they've gotten away with it. They think they've built themselves up and they're going to get away with it. And that's why it says, "Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that would spoil the vineyards." And here in this dream that I had a little fox approach me. Started out as a squirrel, kept running on the ground to me as a fox, and it clearly wanted to make nice. It wanted to be nice to me. So, but what does it say? It says, you who were never spoiled, you weren't dealt with treacherously. But when you're done dealing your treachery out to her, she's going to deal it right back to you. And she's right under the law to do so for all that you have done to her. And that's the interpretation that I'm going to walk away with on that one. So, you know what? If you go looking for that word Baal, you're going to find it in some odd places. And that is the image that these daughters of Zion represented as this stone cut out without hands, representing the Spirit reborn in the earth, Christ's Spirit reborn in the earth. As these daughters of Zion, that's your Mount Zion, where your fall took place. And it was not male angels coming down and taking wives, it was females on Mount Zion that these men were going up to, and they were in treachery against the righteous daughter of Zion to bring her down. So who's the adversary? Well, it tells us that you know, the serpent will be against, there'll be an enmity between the woman's seed and the serpent's seed. You've got two feminines in view there, not two masculines, or one feminine and a masculine. You've got two feminines in view, which is your overview of your verse in Galatians 4:24. These two women are an allegory. So one puts you in bondage and one frees you. And that's what we're looking at. Removing this yoke, this bondage that we as righteous daughters have been forced to wear by the treachery, the treacherous dealing of fallen Adam and the horror spirit that he's in covenant with. And they're going to try to impose a law down our throat. I know that's what's coming. That's what the UN's getting ready to put in play. A lot of things may have to take place before that, or maybe not. Maybe they'll happen real fast. Now, I tend to think they're going to happen fast. The Bible indicates that. Sudden. And they're going to try to put these laws in play and make it look so righteous that when we daughters, no, I'm not a feminist. I don't want the right to flaunt my body and be half naked, and I don't want the right to earn less pay than men and be debased. No, I'm not a feminist. You can take your man-made feminism, and certainly ain't my idea of feminism. So no, you're right. I'm not a feminist. Anyway, I love all the saints out there. We're all in the same battle, hopefully. But we're told we're going to win this. We already did. So we're just playing our parts in the finality, the grand finale that's getting ready to play out. And wow, we're quite privileged to have a part in it. I know there's fear in that, but I guess that's where faith really has to come in and take effect in our lives. That we trust that God's got this, right? So again, love my brothers and sisters. And I do hope you all have a blessed day.